Hello, friends and neighbors. Today, we are once again working. And hopefully today, I do not get attacked by people. Oh, hey, PogChamp Senpai, welcome! Happy to have you here. So once again, we're working on, well, you're free to work on whatever you want. I'm working on updating my lectures for the fall semester. Because I'm teaching social psychology, and social psychology is constantly in flux, which means that I have to update my lectures a fair amount so that I'm not teaching misinformation and stuff. You know how it is. Today, the lecture is on social influence. Things like persuasion and... I think I might have my own lecture, another lecture on persuasion, but this is stuff like persuasion, conformity, obedience, all that stuff. That's the stuff that I'm working on updating today. That is the general plan. And I'm hoping... Oh, hey, Astral, welcome! Happy to have you here. I'm hoping I don't get attacked or entrapped this time. Though, to be fair, that is good content, if highly distressing. We're gonna do our best. We're gonna do our best. And I'm gonna be yapping the whole time, because I cannot control myself. Would this be faster if I was not streaming? Probably. Would it be as fun? Absolutely not. Attacked. Last time, certain people in the chat engaged in entrapment. They engaged in entrapment. They said things in chat, and then when I read those things out loud, they said that it was proof of... They clipped it, they shared it in Z's Discord. Entrapment. It was entrapment, pure and simple. It was... yeah. I think we also went on a tangent. I don't remember when we went on a tangent. I've been streaming so much co-working stuff recently that I don't actually remember what happened and which one. Yeah. It was very dangerous, PogChamp Senpai. We must be cautious. We must be cautious. We must be very, very, very careful about what we do, about what we say, so that people... Well, it's only entrapment if it was planned. I think it was planned. I think Torg knew exactly what they were doing. Actually, I don't think they knew what they were doing, but... I'm counting it anyway. I think it was entrapment. I'm counting it as entrapment. That's what I'm gonna say. Y'all are very sneaky when you want to be. I'm sorry, I have hard candy. So, like, I know that ego depletion, this idea that, like, when we engage in self-control, I just came back to you, I'm not gonna say it out loud again. I was just reading what Torg said in chat. That was not me saying that. I want that to be very clear. And now everybody is judging me. Everybody is judging me. Everybody and their dog, and their white blood cell, and their photon, and... Anyway. It's okay. We're gonna survive. We're gonna survive. Actually, what do... Okay. Sorry. I was like... Does Gardevoir even have feet? Is Gardevoir just a dress? I'm not gonna worry about it. We're not gonna linger on such things. We're not gonna linger on such things, because down that road, that's hell you're walking into. I did not Google that. I Googled Gardevoir. I mean, they are projecting their own interests and accusing you. Exactly, they're projecting onto me. They're projecting onto me. It's my chat that's screwed up. It's not me. I'm not the problem. It's chat. PogChamp Senpai, you are not the problem because you were not. Well, it remains to be seen, but currently you have plausible deniability. And you are defending me, I believe. So, and therefore, for now, you are safe from accusations of projection. Hey, Mad Computer Scientist, welcome, welcome. Just dropping by to say hi and wishing you all a great day. I'll probably head to bed soonish. It's good and important to get enough sleep. Thank you for dropping in. It's very nice to have you here. But yeah, make sure to get plenty of rest. And thank you for saying hi. I will never judge anyone for getting enough rest. Okay. So, today's lecture is about conformity, obedience, and deviance, and the similarities and differences between the two. Between the three. That's three things, not two things. I can count. I have 10 fingers and I can use them to count things. And I can sometimes count to numbers that are even higher than that, if I try really hard. I may be the stats member of V-Theorem, but I am not the math member of V-Theorem. I don't know who the math member of V-Theorem is. I suspect it's Z. I can't do math, though. Okay, so this is the example I use to say the difference between conformity, obedience, and deviance, if you're curious, is ordering dessert at dinner. Like, when you're out with, like, friends or family or something, usually, I think friends or coworkers is a better metaphor for this, because you're not super familiar with what they do if you don't go out for dinner with them often. Like, let's say you go out for dinner and you really want dessert, and this is a dilemma that I experience constantly because I have a giant freaking sweet tooth. I always want dessert. Especially like if I'm going out for dinner, I really always want to order the dessert. But it's like, it's tricky, right? Because you never know if other people are going to judge you for ordering the dessert, or if the people are eager to get up and go and they don't want to wait for dessert, or if they want dessert too, but they're not saying it, or like whatever, like, this is a dilemma I constantly get caught in, and my family has learned to exploit this. My family has learned that I always want dessert. And so when, like, a server asks us, hey, does anyone here at this table want dessert? Sometimes they will want dessert, and when they want dessert, but they also know me well enough to know that I'm not going to say that I want dessert unprompted because I don't want to cause anyone any trouble. So what they do is when they want dessert, they know that I want dessert because I always want dessert. They just stare at me. They stare at me. It is my noble duty to break the ice and order dessert first, or suggest ordering dessert, so that the others do not have to be the first one to order dessert. But of course, I'm too anxious to do this because I never know if somebody else wants dessert, so they need to, like, stare at me or, like, nudge me in the side to indicate that it's okay for me to order dessert. And when I order dessert, and then everybody else at the table feels comfortable ordering it as well. This is the pivotal foundational role that I play in my family. I also, sometimes I go and eat at my cousin's place, and my aunt and uncle, and there'll be leftover dessert, but they don't want to pack it up. And so they also use me for that. They're just like, does anyone want more dessert? And then they ask this question at the table at large, of course, but they are staring directly into my eyes. They know. Anyway. Yeah, I use ordering dessert at restaurants as an example. Conformity would be, I don't know if it's okay to order dessert, so I wait to see what everybody else does. The human food disposal, specifically for dessert. Not necessarily for anything else, but if it's dessert, then I become the human food disposal. Hey, Kaizen Oramara, welcome. Happy to have you here. But yeah, conformity is waiting to see what other people do, and then if nobody else orders dessert, you feel like you can't order dessert, and then you don't either. Obedience is when somebody tells you you are not allowed to order dessert, and then you don't order dessert. And deviance is if nobody else orders dessert, and then you do order dessert. That's the example I use with my students, because it hits very close to home for me. That's my life. Oh, right, this is so sad. I had this great video demonstrating conformity, but they got rid of it. YouTube, like, the person restricted it. So conformity is like you're trying to follow an unwritten social rule that nobody told you about, but you assume is a thing. Pretty much, yeah. That can be part of it. conformity is like, conformity is just like doing what everybody else is doing. And one of the reasons we conform is exactly what you're putting out there. It's called informational influence is the technical name we use for it, but it's like when you're not sure what to do, when you're not sure how to deal with the situation, you look at what the people around you are doing, and then you do what they're doing because you think that's what you're supposed to do. So, like, yeah, essentially, like, conformity can be, you know that there are unwritten social rules out there, and if everybody's doing the same thing, it's very easy to assume that that is one of those unwritten social rules, and then you do it too. That's one of the very, like, I feel like conformity is often portrayed as this negative thing, like you shouldn't conform and stuff like that. But there are a lot of situations where actually conforming is a really good idea, especially if you're like in a new situation and you don't know what to do. Sounds like what I do automatically more often than others I observe as someone with what used to be called Asperger's, lol. It's a very effective way of figuring out what to do in a new situation. Is conformity the hardest to be self-aware and defend from manipulation or external influences? It's very tempting to conform. I will say it is very tempting to conform. And I think that's why, like, a lot of my students, when they, before the conformity lecture, and if they weren't paying attention or skipped class after the conformity lecture, seem to have this preconception that conformity is inherently a bad thing because you're being sheeple, you're going along with the crowd, you're not thinking for yourself, you could get manipulated, all this stuff. And that is certainly true to an extent. Like, I don't want to say that's wrong. But, and sometimes you conform without thinking about it. But conformity is also a very useful tool. Like, for example, I recently traveled to Japan. I was in Japan for 2 weeks this summer. And of course, I'm from America. And Japan has a lot of social rules that are different from America's social rules, you know, different cultures and all that. And I was like vaguely aware of some of these rules, but I was not necessarily aware of other rules. You know, like I've been to Japan before, but it was like a decade ago. It was a long time ago. And I vaguely remembered there's some rule about like standing versus walking on the escalators. And so what I did was I engaged in conformity. Or in that case, the specific type was what we call informational influence. I watched what other people were doing, and I noticed that in Tokyo, everybody was standing on the left side of the escalator, and if you wanted to walk, you walked up the right side. And so I stood on the left side of the escalator. I was conforming. But in that case, that's like the positive side of conformity, or one of the positive sides of conformity. I was able to figure out how to behave in a certain social situation because I conformed to what everybody else was doing. So conformity absolutely can, it's a double, it has good sides and bad sides. It can be used to manipulate people. It can be used to influence people and get people to do things that they otherwise would not do. But also it can be very handy for navigating unfamiliar social situations. Yeah, you shouldn't feel forced to conform, but you shouldn't try not to conform for no reason. You should find where you're happy. Exactly. As with everything, moderation is key. There are very few things in this world, I think. Like, I think they do exist, but there are very, very few things in this world that are entirely bad or entirely good. And conformity is very much one of those things. It can be used for good, it can also be used for bad, you know? But now I need to find a funny conformity clip, because the one that I used to have, the video got taken down. Which makes me very sad, because it was a very good video. Well, I'm sure I can find another good one. The one that I had before was a video from Solomon Asch. Solomon Asch is famous specifically for studying conformity. And this was a video of one of them. So his most famous study is the line study, where like you have 5 people in a room, or you have 6 people in a room, and only one of them is an actual participant. The other 5 are in on the study. And you give them 3 lines and then a 4th line, and they say, okay, the 4th line is the same as one of these, the same length as these, one of the other 3. Which lines are the same length? And for the first couple rounds, everybody gives the correct answer. But after the first few rounds, all the people who are in on the study, the fake participants, start giving the incorrect answer. And the correct answer is actually pretty obvious, right? But because everybody gave the incorrect answer, there's this social pressure to also give the incorrect answer. And there's other reasons you might want to give the incorrect answer if everybody else is giving the incorrect answer. Like maybe they know something that you don't or whatever. So that's the study that he's famous for. He showed that people give up straight up incorrect answers to obvious questions if everybody before them gave that incorrect answer. But this is another study that I think is even funnier and even more, it's a better demonstration of conformity, and I'm so sad that the only video of it that I could find on YouTube got privated. But what he did was he sent out groups of 1, 2, or 5, between 1 and 5 people into the streets of New York. And what they did was this group of people, or this person, would stand on the sidewalk and just look up at the sky. They'd just stand there, they'd look up at the sky, and then Ash counted how many people also stopped to look up. It's just such an elegant study. Like, is it perfect? Certainly not. Like, there's alternative explanations out the wazoo of why people would do that besides conformity. But, I think it's a really nice, fun study. Looks like there's a couple other fun ones, though, videos that I can use. I found one, of an elevator thing, where people are stand around facing the back of the elevator, or one person, where people are standing, like, you know how you face the front when you're in an elevator usually? But you'll see social experiments where everybody faces the back of the elevator. And then somebody comes in and they're like, oh shoot, I should be facing the back as well. And things like that. There's a really funny one. It might be a little long for class. But, hello! Hey, Alex! Welcome! Welcome! Happy to have you here. Let's see, I'm trying to find a new video for something. Let's see. I think my favorite one is there's this one video that I have it linked on my course site always. And what I do is... How do I do this, actually? I don't actually know how to adjust which video is in there. Do. But okay, yeah, so this other one that I think of, I really like this one. I think it's a prank channel, but not like one of the evil, sketchy prank channels that are just mean to people. What they do is they have like a waiting room, and in the waiting room, there's there's people waiting, but most of the people waiting in the waiting room are actually in on the prank. And then they'll have somebody come in and sit in the waiting room for this doctor, and periodically a tone will play. Like, the loudspeaker will play a tone, and what happens is that when the tone plays, everybody who's in on the prank will stand up for a minute, and then they'll sit back down. And then eventually, the person who's not in on it will start doing it as well. And then... eventually, everybody gets called in for their appointments. All the people in on it call for their appointments, but the person who was not in on it, who was just conforming, keeps standing up with the tone after that, and then new people come in and they start to pick up on the standing thing from her, and it's like it's really funny. It's really funny. I love it. Let's see. Yeah, we want to find out how to embed a YouTube video into a PowerPoint. Let's see. Insert video, online video, insert. Perfect! Oh my gosh, I'm a genius. I learned a new skill today, everyone. Please be proud of me. I am a good egg, and I deserve praise. Thank you. See, I'm gonna demand praise, and then when I actually get excitement and praise, I'll get all bashful about it. I'm like, I don't think that's quite tsundere about it. Maybe it is kind of tsundere. Am I tsundere? I don't know how I feel about that. Alright. V-Dairy? Is V-Dairy like an agency or something? I don't know. That sounds familiar. V-Dairy. V-Dairy. I'm getting nerd sniped. Psy-Dairy? I'm not Psy-Dairy. Oh yeah, V-Dairy is... It is a VTuber group. I'm not a member of V-Dairy. I don't know anything about V-Dairy. I don't know. I might be tsundere though. I wonder what Psy-Dairy is. Is Psy-Dairy just like somebody who likes you and also yaps a lot? Is that what, like, I know Psy-Dairy, of course, Psy-Dairy, but I'm trying to come up with a dairy type based on Psy-Dairy. Oh, I didn't know. I thought of V-Theorem. Yeah. V-Theorem dairy. How long till we exhaust all the words VTuber groups can add a V in front of? Well, if you consider all of the words in the English language, we probably never will. And then if you extend that to other languages as well, we probably, especially because language is always evolving and adding new words, I think there is an infinite number of the something names that you could get out there. A linguist would be better, to say, but hey Warpy, welcome. Extend it to made up V funeral. It's like all VTubers who are like Shinigami and Jengshi and zombies and various types of undead. Maybe that's what they should have called, like, Mori Calliope and Boogie Vox. Like, that trio. Maybe they should have referred to themselves as V Funeral. Anyway. I'm creating a new VTuber group. It's just me, and it's V Mylan. That is it. Oh no, I'm disbanding V Mylan, by the way. There was a scandal, and now V Mylan needs to disband. Such is the fate. We're speedrunning the VTuber group. Alright. Maybe that was a little bit of a dark joke. V-Mylan's just a podcast with all the different models agreeing with it. V-Mylan is literally just all of my models talking to each other. It's perfect. Maybe I should make that into a video. V-Mylan podcast, and it's just me doing different voices. Oh man, that could be fun. That could be very, very fun. Oh man. What would I talk about? What's something I could talk about forever? Enkidu from Fate. I could do that. Conspiracy theories. I think that would actually be really funny if I did it on conspiracy theories and it's just me talking to myself over everywhere. I would watch that. V Mylan has been disbanded because it was just business. We didn't make a single cent of money and therefore we had to disband. We didn't spend a single cent of money though either. Have I spent money on VTubing? I bought a new microphone back when I decided to start VTubing years and years ago. So I guess I have spent, and I guess I did buy this new PC at least for like not only for VTubing, but that was a major factor. So I guess I have spent money on VTubing and I've never made any. V Mylan has sadly burned through the 11 million pound investment. The 11 pence investment, more like it. I have not received any money for my VTubing at all through any channel. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm not in it for the money. What is it? I've invested my own money. It's fine. If somebody gave me $11 million for, like, to do something with VTubing, I think I would cry and collapse in on myself and quit. That's too much pressure. I'd just give it back. They'd be like, here's $11 million, and I'm like, no thank you. How scary would that be? That kind of responsibility is terrifying. Like, even if my YouTube channel got monetized, I don't know if like, even if I met requirements, I don't know if I would monetize it, because that feels really scary. Somehow. I don't know if this makes any sense whatsoever, but that sounds honestly kind of terrifying to me. Like, if other people can pull that off, good for them, but I am not the type of person that can handle that kind of pressure. I don't even know if it's that much pressure, but it feels like pressure to me. If anyone gives me money, I start getting stressed out. So I definitely, like, for commissions, I only let people pay me for commissions after I've finished the whole thing, which is not a good business model. You're supposed to take, like, maybe half up front or entire payment up front. But I say only pay me after, and I've been very lucky in that, like, everybody has gone through and paid me after. There was one person I had to kind of chase down and be like, hey, I did this thing for you, you didn't pay me, but, like, I've been very lucky with that, but if someone gave me 11 million, I would just invest 10.95 million, build several top-tier 3D printers. You know what? Very valid. Very valid. You know, if I did have 11 million, not necessarily for, like, not necessarily for, like, any particular purpose, but if somebody just gave me 11 million, tax-free, mind you, tax-free, because you always forget about the taxes, but somebody just gave me 11 million tax-free dollars to do whatever I wanted, I would move to a place that had an in-unit washer-dryer. In-unit washer-dryer, that's one thing I very much want. I would also want a 3D printer, actually. I would get a 3D printer, I would get a claw machine for my home, and a new mattress. And then I'd just probably shove the rest in savings and, like, donate a lot of it. That's probably what I'd do. I'd donate a lot of it, buy a new printer, buy a 3D printer, move to a different place, buy a UFO catcher machine, buy a new mattress that isn't completely concave, and then put it in savings. The solution to infinite happiness is a 3D printer. You can print happiness, didn't you know? You can 3D print happiness. This is what I've heard. Now, I would really love to learn 3D modeling. One of my goals that I'll probably never get around to is to learn 3D modeling, because I want to create custom figures. I'm a huge fan of anime figures. Like, I love buying figures of anime characters. And if I could make custom figurines, if I could 3D print custom figurines of, like, the V-Theorem members, or, like, my original characters, or, like, anime characters that I love but don't have figures, I would be so happy. I would love that. That would be the freaking dream. I've also looked into, you know how you can see those people doing those gorgeous, those beautiful, gorgeous, like clay figures. You know, just take like Sculpey or something. They make the figures out of it on YouTube. I really want to learn how to do that. I really do. I want to learn how to do that so much. There's so many things I want to learn how to do. So little time though. But if somebody, I haven't actually looked. I should see if there's a YouTube channel that does like tutorials for how to do that. Let's see. Now I gotta see if this study replicates. Replication and extension of ash experiment. Okay, that's not... Do. All right. What would you do if you had like $11 million? I know like Alex would do build several top tier 3D printers and invest. What else would people do? I'm curious. Mostly I probably just need a new mattress. That's part of my problem, you know? It's been destroying my back. Honestly, it's not the money that's stopping me. It's the logistics. I don't know if this is anyone else, but like there are several things that it's kind of an unfathomable amount of money. I know, right? It doesn't feel real. Like, and that's why like I'm like I would do these simple things and then I would just invest and donate the rest because like I can't even fathom what one could do with that, you know? But in terms of like my quality of life, there are actually a lot of things that I could afford that would significantly improve my current quality of life, like a new mattress, or I could probably afford to move right now. But I'm not doing them because logistically, that just seems incredibly stressful. Does that make sense? It's stupid. Like, there's so many things I can make my life so much better and make my maybe physical health better and like do this and this and that. And I just don't do them, even though I could afford to do it monetarily, because trying to figure out how to make it happen is so stressful. Like getting a new mattress. How am I going to transport the mattress? What am I going to do with the mattress? Like, what did I do with my old mattress? How do I get the new mattress in? Or like with moving, like, oh, but that means that if I move, then I have to change my address on all these things, and then I have to figure out how to like take down my bed frame so that I can get it out the door and in through another door, and like it's so stupid, but like these little logistical things are stopping me from making vast improvements to my life. Oh man. Oh, oh, did I destroy? Did I destroy? Oh, oh, no idea what that was. Uh-oh. Something is wrong. I would probably be able to use up $11 million industrial machinery for a workshop and maybe a sleeping bag in the corner can get expensive. I imagine so. I imagine so. How's my... It seems like... Hmm. Seems like my stream quality is suffering. That's a little distressing. Maybe it's my connection. How we doing? Is everything as shoddy as it seems? Huh. Huh. Not really sure how to fix that. Not really sure how to fix that. Hmm. What do we think? We back? I don't know. I hope so. Oh, yep, I think we're back. I think we're back. I think we back. I have no idea what that was or why it happened, but I think we're back. Are we back? I hope we're back. Never had that happen before. It was buffering for me, but I thought it was on my end, disappeared after jumping 5 seconds behind. Weird. Yeah, no, it was on my end, apparently. I was getting some sort of notification that, things were buffering and buffering and buffering, or like, I'm only watching in 240p right now to save data, but everything's fine on my end. Nice! Yeah, I don't know. I got a sudden notification like, YouTube is not receiving enough video data. For smooth streaming. Viewers may experience buffering, and I don't know what all that was about, but I hope it's okay. I hope it's okay. We can only hope. But maybe I seem back. Oh, that's good. That's comforting. I'm very happy. I'm very happy to be back. I want to get through at least one PowerPoint today, but we'll see. Wait, I was 25 seconds behind. Oop. We're here. This is where we are right now. We are talking, we are yapping, we're here. Informational influence. Influence due to the belief that others are behaving correctly. Normative influence. Fear of social consequences of appearing deviant. Let's see. There we go. All right. I'm tempted to use some Japanese examples in here as well, and I can't remember. Yeah. So informational influence would be following, like, lines for concert or something like that, or TSA lines. How about that? So, like, how many of you have, like, how many of you fly? Like, I know that, like, maybe this feels like I feel like, you know, different countries have different norms in terms of, like, how you travel and stuff. In the US, a lot of travel, not all travel, obviously. Like, you can travel places by driving and stuff, but a lot of traveling in the US includes flying. So I fly a lot. And sometimes it can be very difficult to figure out where you're supposed to be going exactly. Or actually maybe customs airport. So a lot of the times, like, what I do is I just look where other people are going. You know? I think I'm gonna use that, oh, hi, hey, how you doing? Hey, Scarling Magdalora. Welcome. We are still working on PowerPoints. We'll be working on PowerPoints for the foreseeable future. I don't know if I'm gonna stream all of it, but hello. Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, you know, it can be hard to figure out where to go. Actually, maybe... I'm gonna go with the, Shinkansen. Oh, I just got from work listening to Epic the Musical for I haven't listened to that yet. That's pretty neat. I've heard good things about it. That's something that I would like to check out. Does it have catchy music? Would it destroy me? I should. Yeah, there's so many things I should do. There's so many things I need to watch. I think I really need to watch To Your Eternity. That's something I have an obligation to do for this channel. But I think I also really want to watch Alien Stage. I keep telling myself I'm going to watch Alien Stage. I just have so many things on my list that I know are going to make me sad. You know? That's the eternal struggle. It's the eternal struggle. Ah. Wait, what was I doing? I was editing this PowerPoint. Okay. But I'm thinking, like, it's the only musical I've ever experienced, and it made me feel like I don't even need other musicals for me to like this. That's incredible. You know, I actually used to really hate musicals, and I don't know why. Epic is carrying hard right now. Yeah. I used to hate musicals so much. And now I'm just like, free music? Story and free music? I don't know why I was so opposed to them as a youngin'. Maybe I was just being edgy. I don't know. I wanted so badly to be cool as a child. Normative influence would be. Yes, I love fan animatics. Have to go now. It was nice. Oh, take care, PogChamp Senpai. Have a great one. Oh, Alvin Fong, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the live stream. Happy to have you. Happy to have you. I'm glad that you were able to make it. Yes, free music and art. I love animatics. I love animatics so much. I've made animatics before. They're very high effort. But I think that animatics are great. I'm very, you know, the best thing is when you can find a new fandom and you get to, and that fandom is popular enough to have animatics. That's my favorite thing. That feels like a gift that just keeps on giving. You get to watch all of them. I'm honestly lately, like right now, I'm kind of into Minecraft YouTubers. Specific ones, specific Minecraft YouTubers. And I know that that's a very risky thing to do. You got to be careful about which Minecraft YouTubers you start watching because you never know what's gonna happen. They have a reputation for a reason. But which ones? I like the people on Hermitcraft and the Life SMP. I'm a huge fan of those things. And of course, Life has Past Life right now. They have a new mini series, and I've been watching that a lot, and I'm a huge fan of it. But the nice thing about being in that fandom, can I even say that I'm in the fandom when I don't really create any content related to it or like write any fic, read any fic, draw any fan art? I don't know if I can say I'm in the fandom. I'm just consuming the media. But it has a lot of great animatics. There's a lot of really funny animatics, and because there's that new miniseries coming out right now, they're just churning out so many of them, and I am thriving. I'm hydrated. I don't know if I'm actually hydrated. I should probably get some more water, but you know what I mean. It's so good. It's so good. It's so much good food, as they say. Mm-hmm. Ah. Do 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 do. Adding some personal stories. Question: When you listen, can you listen to the first song of music? You don't have to worry about copyright. George doesn't do copyright stuff. Oh, like on stream? I do. I'm gonna worry about copyright stuff anyway. I'm gonna worry about it. But I mean, if you don't mind not having the music on, I can. If you don't mind the music not being on stream, I can listen to it right now if you want. I do usually love listening to music while I'm working on stuff. That's the struggle. I can't do that on stream. Yes, you can be a part of a fandom. Being in a number in a group counts as a member. I don't know. I mean, social psychology might disagree with that in terms of the definition of a group. Definition of a group has to have some kind of common. I guess I am in the part of being common interest and goal. I'm not sure. So joining a fandom is the bare minimum. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I feel like there's a distinction between fandom and just watching a thing. Like, you can watch a movie without being part of the fandom, you know? Like, I feel fandom is taking a more active role in your consumption of media. But I guess I talk about it. I don't really post about it, so I'm not necessarily interacting with strangers when I talk about it. So I feel like that's kind of my bar for fandom. Participating in fandom would be putting out like theories and content, and stuff like that in a space where you aren't familiar with every person in that environment, where you're not like friends with every person in that environment. You're making public or semi-public. You're engaging with that content in a public or semi-public way, I would consider. I don't know what the actual definition is, though. There's like a whole field called fandom studies, and I'm not actually super familiar with that. I think there is a distinction inside of fandom between people who participate by contributing and people who participate by consuming, but I count both as I see. I don't think fandoms put requirement to be part of them. It depends on the... Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. I don't know. Like, historically, I guess for most of my life, when I engage in fandom, I do it through things like writing fic or drawing fan art, mostly drawing fan art. And therefore, if I'm not doing that, it kind of feels like I'm not part of the fandom, you know? Like, I'm so used to being on the creator side of fandom that I don't feel like I'm part of the fandom if I'm not on the creator side. Does that make sense? All right, I need to find a more recent study on pluralistic ignorance. Oh, this sounds interesting. Pluralistic ignorance as a contributing factor to concussion underreporting. Forgot to put it in here, but yes, you can go listen to it on your own. You can react to the rest of the musical after you feel confident in the copyright not being in your way. Yeah, I don't know how good I am as a reaction channel, but I think maybe I'll put it on right now. Maybe I'll put the music on right now, and we can investigate. What is the name of the first song in Epic the Musical? Epic the Musical first song. Is it The Horse and the Infant? Is that the first song in it? The Horse and the Infant. All right, well, not we. If you want to listen along, you can, but I'm gonna listen to it. I'm gonna listen. Do. Oh wait, I need to make sure that my audio is going through my headphones. Okay, I think it is. Oh. Alright. Da. I found an animatic for it, that's nice. I used to be super big into Greek myths when I was a kid. You know, I really am a big fan of songs that have a strong beat. So this song is already off to a good start. It has a very strong beat. Though I question... I guess this is more of an animatic thing. I'm a love the Iliad, yeah. I was more in, like... I didn't really like the Iliad or, like... or the Odyssey or things like that as much. Like, I definitely read them. But... Okay, this is a good song. This is definitely a good song. I am a fan. I liked the shorter things, though. That was kind of the stuff that I liked. Like, just, here's a general myth. I didn't necessarily care for the whole story, if that makes any sense whatsoever. The Iliad's what got you into it? Nice. I got trapped by, you know what you do? You know when you get trapped when I was a kid, and I think these still exist, they would have these big books that they would sell. And by big, I don't mean like many pages. I mean like physically the dimensions of the book were large, and they had very shiny covers. And there would be like Egyptian mythology, Greek mythology, yada yada. And my parents got me the Greek mythology book. And oh man, I was hooked. I was hooked. I was a huge fan. I think I'll have to listen to the song later. I can't like be interesting and listen to a song at the same time. So I'm just gonna I'll put that on my list of something to do later. Later. But it was good from what I heard of it. It was good. I got distracted because I was watching an animatic, and you know, they're in the Trojan horse, and by my recollection, the Trojan horse was made out of wood, and they were holding torches, and I'm like, this feels like a bad idea to be holding a torch in an enclosed space where the fumes can get to you, and also that enclosed space is made of wood. I'm like, this seems like a very poor decision, and also when you want to stay... So, like, you have a choice. If you're in the Trojan horse, and you want light, and you decide to use fire for that light, which I guess they didn't really have many other options at that time, either you use the fire in the Trojan horse, and you have the Trojan horse with ventilation so that you can breathe, and that allows you to not get as, like, choked up by the smoke, but also that means the smoke is coming out of the horse, and therefore people are going to be suspicious. Alternatively, you can prioritize not being suspicious by sealing the horse so air can't vent quite as easily, which means that now you're gonna get, like, you're gonna suffer from smoke inhalation. There's no good solution for having fire inside the Trojan horse, is what I'm saying. Anyway, hi Alex, finally on my PC. Time to co-work for a bit since I said I'd release one of my projects this week. So yeah, you got this. The most empathetic ones by God's standards. That's true. That's true. Hestia, Demeter, and Hades were, yeah. Greek gods were all kind of screwed up though. But I mean, that's kind of the point. Oh yeah, poison. Yeah, you got to be careful about that. You don't want to be in an enclosed space with a lot of smoke. That's gonna screw you up real fast. So hopefully the Trojan horse didn't require that. Hopefully it was just a case where, like, the top of the horse at least had, like, gaps to let light through, so you didn't need fire until it... Well, I guess after dark, that was when they attacked. They were in the horse while it was dark. I don't know. I'm just having a time. Anyway, concussion underreporting is endemic and social norms are established. Prediction of concussion, however, pluralistic ignorance is situated for most, hold the belief that their peers' views differ from has not been reported in this context. Okay. I have found an article that I can use that is a bit more... Oh, Hell's Paradise! Hell's Paradise! I loved Hell's Paradise! I love that one. I love the manga. The anime was decent, and I'm very excited about the next season, provided that MAPPA isn't horrible to its employees to get it out, what they probably will be. But, yeah, apparently that is the thing. Like, I don't know if that's true. It might be true, though. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, smoke inhalation will get you. Smoke inhalation will absolutely get you. It is very dangerous. So what did I find? I found an article about pluralistic ignorance and concussion underreporting in the military. So it seems like in the military, let's see, where did they... These were military service academy cadets, and this was... Where are these people based? University of Colorado, Denver, and Aurora, Colorado. So seems to be the U.S. military. It seems like most people in the military seem to, at this cadet academy, in this sample, which is a pretty big sample, it's 2,500 cadets, and most thought that they would be more willing to report a concussion than other people in the military, which, oh, the guys I was going to join 4 years ago, oh boy. It seems like, oh, and they also had college athletes. So it seems like most people thought that they were more likely to report concussions than others, which suggests that people were underestimating how much people actually reported concussions, therefore creating a false social norm of not being willing to report concussions, which therefore suggests that, no, this isn't a good one though, because they didn't actually measure reporting concussions. They just reported perceptions of others' willingness to share concussions. That's not what we need. Let me actually double check this paper, because it sounds like a good paper, but the whole point of pluralistic ignorance, well, I guess that is pluralistic ignorance, because because it's pluralistic ignorance because they're underestimating how much other people do it. Yeah, never mind. Okay. So people generally think that the idea, concussion reporting tendencies, they thought they were more willing to report a concussion than their peers. So they perceived a norm that most people don't report concussions, which social norms are a powerful thing, which would suggest that maybe this pluralistic ignorance could lead to underreporting of concussions. Hi, Xenotes, I'm happy to have you. How you doing? How you doing? Let's see. Let's see. And this seems to be true for athletes as well. Not only showed similar willingness to report concussion as non-athletes, but also perceived cadets as less likely to. Doing tired. I did not get nearly as much done as I was like this week. But on the whole, all right. Yeah, well, we gotta be nice to ourselves. Like, I mean, getting stuff done is important, but also be nice. Also be nice. Yeah. I want to find one with behavior. Reminds me, I watched a video a few days ago about cops not snitching on corruption because they rely on trust for them to not leaving them in gunfights. Yeah, that's a scary thing. Tomorrow I hop across the border to Denmark. I'm excited. Oh, that sounds like fun. That sounds like fun. Oh, I didn't care about I didn't want the bystander. I just wanted pluralistic ignorance. Well, no wonder it was showing me so much stuff about the bystander effect. I just want pluralistic ignorance. Misperceived eating norms. Using misperceived social norms as license. Does pluralistic ignorance trigger complacency in the food environment? That sounds like something that I would like to read. To invest. Oh, this is a Dutch sample. Speaking of that general area, though not necessarily the same country. Healthy eating misperceptions only marginally predicted, but healthy misperceived intentions. Netherlands mentioned. Yeah, Netherlands mentioned. Netherlands mentioned. It could happen. It's terrifying. The other really flat country in Northern Europe. With lots of bikes. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if it's very flat, then it's easier to bike around, so that makes sense. Persistent forms of bribery and draws with examples focusing on bribery in traffic law enforcement, healthcare, and education. Presence of pluralistic ignorance, a common social comparison error. Differing. Empirical case study of Nigeria shows that even though more people are likely to be directly affected by bribery during routine interactions, and many believe this practice is wrong, most people incorrectly believe that others in the community tolerate or even accept bribery behavior. So this is another interesting one. It seems like most people don't like bribery and don't want bribery to continue, but they feed into the system because they think that's the norm. Still amazing to me how much land the Netherlands has raised from the sea over the last 1,000 or so years. Ooh, that sounds interesting. I'll have to look into what that means. The second tallest mountain in Denmark is a trash pile they covered in grass and turned into a ski slope. Now that is innovation. Oh, I have lived in some very flat areas before, so I can empathize. I've also lived in some incredibly mountainous areas before. It's been a bit. I'm beginning my shift now. I think I can join back later if the stream is long, just in case. Oh, have a good shift. I hope that everything goes well. Yeah, we'll see how long I stick around. Have there been any fun examples of mass hysteria lately? Some countries are just too good at being parodies, and themselves in Denmark is one of them. Fair. All right. Let's see. Awesome that I caught two streams in a row makes me happy. Yeah, it's nice to have you here. I'm happy to have you here. Let's see. Mass hysteria in the US that my students would remember. Mass hysteria, the clown sightings in 2016, and toilet paper shortages and COVID. I can DM a map of the Netherlands from the 1300 compared to the modern day. Oh, I would love to see that. I'm curious. I love how there's a full Wikipedia page for the 2016 clown sightings. This delights me. I'll include the clown sightings just because that's fun. It's 2016, so I think my students were that was how long ago was 20? That was 9 years ago, so that's been a while. But the clown sightings is just a funny example, and I like including funny examples when I can. You know? The Netherlands is crazy. They have so much random water infrastructure and whatnot too. Oh yeah? Okay. Clown sightings in 2016. Your students will appreciate it? I hope so. I hope they'll appreciate it. That's the goal. A few clown sightings happened in the US and other places in the world, led to clown costumes being taken off of shelves in various places, at least one death, a stabbing incident in Wisconsin. No, wait, no. Wisconsin's where it started. I personally always viewed it as absurd nonsense even as a kid. Yeah, I think it's fair. It's fair. Where did I see that? Oh, whoa! What is happening in the... Sorry, thank you for sending that, Astral. What is happening in the Netherlands? I've watched too many videos about Dutch urban planning. I was taking a train to Amsterdam, saw a road on an elevated sidewalk, and I'm not even gonna try and pronounce that. I do not want to do horrible things to languages. I fear. Oh yeah, there's another bit about the positive side of conformity. You can use it to institute social norms, positive social norms, specifically. Oh! Oh! Okay, sorry, I'm having a moment. What was I doing? Yeah, you can do whatever you want to the to Dutch. No, no, I don't want to. I don't want to be mean to the Dutch. I have nothing but. I don't know if I have respect for the Dutch, but the Dutch people that I've met have been lovely people, and I don't want to be mean to their language. Even they acknowledge their language is a nightmare. Fair. I acknowledge English is a nightmare. Social norms, benefits, conformity. Honestly, Danish too. Using social norms to combat academic dishonesty. I don't think my students will like me saying social norms can combat cheating. Effective social norms in fighting fake news. Social norms of corruption in the field. Social nudges on posters can reduce bribery. Social norms and change. Social norms and willingness to act and donate against sexual harassment. Innovative community-based combat adolescent substance use. Mobilizing social media against rumors. Using the signs of bias and culture to combat racial disparities in policing. Which heaven and problem. Which I got stuck in a small Danish town called Sonderborg a while back, and nobody knew what I was saying because it was actually pronounced more like Sueba. I. You know, I had an embarrassing, like, back when I first went to Japan, Ij is I in Dutch. Oh my gosh. My head is starting to, like, I'm starting to feel lightheaded, and I'm gonna start blaming Dutch for it. It's not Dutch's fault. It's my fault. It's my fault for being a filthy American. It's treated like its own letters, so they'll write things like, oh, that's kind of neat. Iser? Iser? That's kind of neat. I like that. That's kind of neat. This kind of neat. Yeah, it's fun. Nice. We like fun things. But that sparks joy. I'm not gonna like. What are these graphs? I've never seen graphs like this in a paper. Very strange. Is this paper open access? No, it's Elsevier. Of course it's not open access. Wait, no, it says open access. I could show you this paper. Oh my gosh, I can show you this paper and its weird graphs. Want to see its weird graphs? Wait, I should check the copyright license, actually. Copyright. No, where is the figures? Study design and methods, abstract. It's open. Get rights. Oh, okay. So it has a Creative Commons license, no derivatives 4.0 share. I can redistribute in any medium or format. I provide credit. It's not commercial, and I remix. You may not distribute modified material. Okay, I can share this. I can share this. The Dutch probably rare Elsevier W. I don't know if it's an Elsevier W so much as it's probably the people International Journal of Education Research Open. Is this an open access journal run by Elsevier? Is that even possible? That sounds fake. That sounds fake. But I guess it's real. Okay, let me Is this the right one? Let me show. Let me show. Okay, so here's the article I'm looking at. And check out these figures. Check out these figures. Give me a second. So first off, to give appropriate attribution, this article is Combating Domestic Violence in West Bengal, India, Gendered Norms and Legal Regulations by Nandita Banerjee Dewan and Harshita Basin. And it is published in the International Journal of Educational Research Open, Volume 7, December 2024. Yeah, so now you have the citation. I'm attributing it correctly. I've also been bamboozled by fake journals, but caught them because they had really stupid names. Yeah, it happened. This feels like a stupid name, but this is a fairly trustworthy website. So, all right. So look at these figures, though. Like, why would you do this? Why would you do this? I hate this. I don't like this. I don't like this. Yeah, I think the problem here. I think the problem here is that people have gotten too comfortable with the fact that you can now publish papers online, and papers are typically not printed anymore, so you don't need to worry about ink costs while you're printing. I think that's what's happening here. I think that's what's happening here. This is not APA style, by the way. I want you all to know that these are not APA style figures. If they were APA style, first off, you wouldn't do this. The background would have to be white. There wouldn't be lines within the graphs. the text is fine for APA style, but like all of this fanciness probably wouldn't be here if this was a APA style figure. I don't know if this is an AP. This definitely isn't an APA journal. I don't know if this is a journal that claims to have APA style. Yeah, that's kind of what gets me too. It's like the bars having shadows and there being a gradient in the background that just it all and the background. There's not as much contrast here as I would like. That these are all the things that gets me about these graphs. These look like maybe not 2003, maybe 2003, but like it just it hurts. It hurts me to see it. I do not like. I'm not going to use this paper. I don't think this is a good paper anyway. Well, like, it's not demonstrating what what I need to demonstrate in the slides. So it could be a very good paper, I don't know, but it's not good for my personal purposes. Wait, go back up. There's one that had borders on the bars. I'll go look for it if you want. Let me see. Borders on the bars. This has shadow. This is shadow. This kind of has borders on the bars. Kind of. But I think that's more of a rendering error than it is actual borders. Oh, this one! This is the one you were talking about, right. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on here. But something is happening here. And I'm not sure how I feel about it. I don't know. We need a graphic designer here. We need a graphic designer. And also, like, this is petty as hell, and this says nothing about the validity of this paper whatsoever. This is just me being picky. At least capitalize the first letter of these first words, okay? Like, at least, please. Look, there's not even capital, like, for someone, I've dedicated way too many hours of my life to making sure the text looks nice on a graph, even though that doesn't actually contribute to the validity or anything. And therefore, we do consider bar graphs with borders a no-use part of life, normal. Yeah. Yeah. Do we? Maybe. Do we, as in, like, they're inevitable, like, you can't do anything about it? That's sad. This is sad, though. That's, because this is specifically a graph about perceptions of violent, like, domestic abuse, essentially. So that's just depressing when you think of it that way. We've all spent way too much time in the latex dungeon trying to line up nice text perfectly. This is me, but with ggplot, like graphing in R and ggplot. I've spent way too much time in the ggplot mines trying to get my text to look just right. And therefore, when I see other people not, I don't think it's that I think that they're bad. I think it's probably just jealousy manifesting as irritation. I wish I didn't care. I wish I didn't feel like I had to do that. I wish I wish I had the courage to go against the social norm or whatever. Oh, man. Oh, well. Maybe I don't need a new paper there. Maybe it's fine as is. Yeah, it's so real. It's like, it's not that they did something bad. It's that they took a shortcut, and I am mad that I didn't take a shortcut. That's exactly the problem here. Hey, Tamiro TMP. Well, sometimes articles of some scientists are goofy. It makes me laugh when I'm tired of research. I love it when people get goofy in their research articles. It is one of my favorite things when people get goofy. I think there's one particular psychological researcher, and I use that in quotation marks because her very existence is a prank. Or maybe prank isn't the right word for it, but her very existence is a joke. And that's not an insult. Like, literally, she is a joke. She's not a real person. She is a joke. This sounds like I'm just being really mean to somebody, but I genuinely mean a real researcher made her up as a joke. But, like, I want to do a video about her at some point. I think I have connections to her, so I wonder if I could get her to come on the channel. I don't know if she'd do that, but I think it would be very cool if I could, like, interview her on the channel. Maybe if I get big enough, I can convince her to come on. That would be pretty sweet. I was really tired of reading a radiochem paper where they started with the new kid on the P block and made my day so much. I love when people do that. I love when people get silly. It would be amazing. I would love that so much. She's been on hiatus, though. for a long time. 1 hour and 15 minutes in, and Mylan has managed to not bring up. Shut up, Astro! Yeah, she hasn't published anything since 2012, which is kind of a shame. She hasn't posted anything on her Twitter since, oh, 2020. That's fairly recent-ish. But I want to see, I definitely want to, I would love to do a video about her, and I should try and see if I could get her to come on the channel. That would make me very happy. I'll see if I can set it up for next April so that we can do it on April 1st next year or something. Or like I can post a video on April 1st of next year with her. That would be pretty sweet. She's a legend. She's an absolute legend. Alright, anyway. Working. Maybe I should put that as a VTuber goal. Interview this specific person who is not actually a real person. A figment of a real researcher's imagination for the sake of shenanigans. Milgram shock experiments have been replicated. Which is a whole thing. Do I have that in here? Yeah, I do. I do talk about that, so I don't need to... Let's see if I can find any more recent replications, because the last replication I found, is from, like, 2019, and I would love to see if I can find an even more recent replication. Oh, this is an imaginational replication. You mean it's not an actual replication? They're just asking people what they think they do? That's kind of the point. Or that kind of defeats the point. I feel like. What did they find? Did they find prior knowledge of the... Consistent with the better than average... Okay. Prior to making predictions, half were told 65% exhibited complete obedience throughout duration of the study. In general, participants predicted much less obedience than was shown in the actual study. In addition, consistent with the better than average effect, participants directly significantly more personal disobedience compared to their average person. Prior knowledge of the Milgram study did not affect people's own judgment of this. Adults are unable or unwilling to incorporate scientific research into their beliefs. Okay, that's not what I need. I mean, that's interesting, but, still. It is kind of funny, though, that the better than average effect pops up here. They're all like, yeah, Milgram study, but not me. Does it happen where you think it's a real live experiment, but then oops, it's just a survey? I don't know. I haven't found one like that. Showed that individuals estimated they would stop earlier than others in a Milgram-like biomedical task leading to the death of the animal. However, this effect was not magnified. So these are all better than average effects. Basically saying that, like, people think that they are better than the Milgram studies. I constantly get them as they're absolutely just simulations in, like, materials and science. That sucks. Yeah, luckily people are usually, like, you can tell from the abstract in psych that it's not, and usually they'll be upright about it, but, like, I feel like there's a problem in psychology where people call things behavior that aren't actually what I would consider behavior, which is kind of sad. But yeah, that's what it is. Authority knows no gender. Gender effects in exerting obedience in Milgram's experiments. This sounds good. Study 1 was a lab experiment. Results, no significant effect of experimenters' gender on a compliance rates. Okay, so here's a replication of Milgram from 2025. Here's another one. So I can say this has been replicated in 2025 as well. Nice. You'll love to find replications. But yes, by the way, if you were wondering, it is totally possible to replicate the Milgram study with today's ethical standards with a few minor tweaks. It has been done multiple times. I believe the obedience light paradigm is the name for the new way of doing it. using Berger's method. Yeah, I know, it's totally, like, it surprises my students too when I mention it. And it surprised me when I learned about it. But yeah, it's totally possible to do, there's a name for, there's a name for the revised version, which is called the obedience light, um, paradigm. And it's like, basically what he did was he lowered the max voltage displayed on the machine, so implied that the shock was not as extreme. Um, Participants were screened ahead of time to make sure that they were mentally healthy. So they made sure that people who were particularly vulnerable to stress and things like that were not allowed to participate in the study. Uh, and they were repeatedly told, they were told much more and insistently than in the original Milgram study, that they, if they were uncomfortable, they could leave at any time and it would not affect their payment or anything. Like, it would still receive payment for the study. They gave a sample shock, just like in the Milgram study, but it wasn't as severe as the shock in the original Milgram study. Debriefing happened a lot sooner in the new version than in the old. Milgram had like a cool down period before they were told it was all faked. Here they were told immediately after the study that it was all fake, and the person running the study was a clinical psychologist, so if anybody had a breakdown during the study or needed mental health assistance during the study, the person in the room with them was qualified to do it and could provide immediate help. Those were the changes that they made to make the Milgram study ethical in our current age. Mm-hmm. I just like it because that the guy who did all this, his last name's Berger. I'm kind of sad they didn't call it the Berger paradigm instead of the obedience light paradigm. They should have called it the Berger paradigm. But I get obedience light is a better description, I think, and more like, it's a name that actually tells you what is happening. I just think Berger's a funnier name. All right. Do. I wonder if they have any cool images in this study that I could use. Funnier it is, yeah. Well, I think it is also important to just, be descriptive. Maybe I should give this one its own slide, just to be like, hey, it wasn't just this guy who did it. Um, uh, yeah, I'll do another slide for this, just because I think it's interesting. The Oakham folk have not realized that descriptive names are more useful than names at all, and we're stuck learning 1,000 different reactions. Let's just get assign random last name. That sucks. Like, I get the temptation to name something after yourself, but I do think I'm torn. I think it's very, very good to have descriptive names for things, and I think that we should have descriptive names for things. But it's also kind of fun to have fun names. If you can get a name that is both fun and descriptive, I think that's the optimal thing. I think it's nice to have both. Yeah, if you can, especially like both for the same thing. So like here's the descriptive name, but it also has this silly name. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah. Used Berger's methods to test if gender of the person giving instructions mattered. It didn't. Do. And then the number of people who who went all the way, the percent of people who went all the way to the end. Was what? What? 89%? Jeez. That's scary. That's even worse. That's even worse than the original Milgram study. They had a higher rate of obedience to the full. That's scary. That's spooky. Maybe that's why they didn't really get many significant results, because, like, just there was a ceiling effect. Almost everybody was going all the way, so there wasn't a lot of variation for them to work with statistically. Wow. Jeez. That's scary. That's a little scary. Well, if I want to destroy my students' faith in humanity again, I can do it. And I'm gonna, I guess. Oh boy. Okay. Oh my gosh. I wonder why. I wonder why this one was more effective. Am I just reading these graphs wrong? Or these tables incorrectly? I feel like someone teaching a psych class has many ways to destroy their students' faith in humanity. Yeah, but you got yeah. I mean, on one hand, that's true. On the other hand, I think, well, it's true, which I think makes it all the more important that we as psychology teachers have a duty not just to focus on the negative side of things, but also the positive. That's why I spent a lot of time talking about how, like, conformity can be bad, but there are some benefits to conformity as well. All right. I want to finish this PowerPoint, and we're getting there. Getting there. How old is this paper that I'm currently using? Where am I? What am I doing? De deviance, norm deviance. Gomilla and Haluk. How? That's from. No, that's not the one I was using. Well, here's one about vaping on college campuses. That could be useful. I bet I could use this. My students can probably relate to this, right? Randomly assigned to one of 7 conditions. Dear goodness. That's oh, it's not actually 7 conditions. Well, it is 7 conditions. It's a 2x3 design with an additional control group. Participants preconceived vaping notions or main effective message frame and interaction effect between message frame. The positive frame led to less freedom, threat, and negative cognition, more favorable. Where's the deviance? Notice it. What's DRT? What deviance regulation theory? What is deviance regulation theory? Deviance regulation theory. What is tell me what is deviance regulation theory? I want to read this. Show me the article. Show me the article. I want to read the article. Ew! Do I not have access to it? That's very rude. Okay. Can't use that. Well, what is it? Now I want to find out what deviance regulation theory is. Let's find out. Deviance regulation theory. Deviance regulation theory posits that people stray from social norms in socially attractive ways, as well as avoiding socially unattractive behaviors that stray from social norms. So people break social norms only when they think that it will make them look cool? Is that it? I mean, that makes sense. That's an interesting... Maybe I should talk about deviance regulation theory. Because that sounds like a fun thing to talk about. Let's add that in. Oh, I already kind of talk about it. When I talk about deviance might be its own form of social conformity. Because it's not really... Both might be social influence just from another direction. Is deviance just conformity? Is deviance just conformity wearing a different hat? I just think this is a cool thing, so I think I'm going to teach about it. Why not? It seems to be a thing. It seems to be supported by evidence. I just think it's kind of neat. Like, deviance regulation theory. People will only deviate from social norms in ways that are perceived positively. So, brave, cool, etc. Or people are most likely. So, for example, this paper that I was just looking at, on vaping and deviance. Main effective message frame and interaction effects. Positive frame. Message frame. Manipulated vaping norm. So when there's a low norm for vaping, but it's perceived as positive, people are more likely to vape. So, yeah, okay, so, even when the norm suggests people don't vape, if people have a positive perception of vaping, they'll be more likely to do it. But if the norm says don't vape and they have a negative perception of vaping, they won't do it. Maybe? Maybe I should look for another paper that I can fully read instead of this. Because I want to make sure I'm fully understanding this before telling other people about it. Student drinkers. Let's see. Can I read this? Are you gonna let me read this? Oh, it's an NIH study, so I can read it. We love it. We love open access science. Open access science is deeply important to the world. All right. The current study. Woo, open access. Yeah, we love an open access paper. Open access papers are the best. I wish all papers were open access. The trick, of course, is that if a paper's open access, you need to you as the author often have to pay a fee to publish it, which sucks because it can be expensive. I've talked about this before, but Plus One, it's one of Phi's favorite journals. Plus One is a big journal that you can publish from almost like any STEM area in Plus One. Plus One will take publications from a wide variety of disciplines, which is really cool. And it's also open access, and all of its papers in Plus One have a really permissive copyright license. They have a creative fair use license where you can, like, it's not like it's not saying they're not copyrighted and that you can just use them completely freely, but they're very, very lenient with how you can use their papers, which is why, like, Phi and Psy and I read a lot of Plus One papers on stream, because you can, which is not true for a lot of other journals. Reading a paper right now, and they just hit me with diluent was kerosene at 200C, auto-ignite at 220. That's pretty dangerous sounding. Gotta be very careful with those concentrations. Yeah, but it sucks because knowing people have published in Plus One and having published in Plus One myself, because it's open access, because they don't charge people or universities fees for access to their papers, they charge the authors who are publishing in Plus One to publish their papers. Like, it still needs to make it through peer review, and you still need to make it through peer review to publish in there. But once you do make it through peer review, it's not just you're published, congratulations. It's, we have accepted your paper for publication. Now give us, like, it depends on the area that you're in. So, like, biology and chemistry, the fees are higher, probably because those areas are more likely to have a lot of money for funding because they need it for the materials. But, like, I think I had to pay something like $1,700, like $1,700 to publish in this journal because it was open access. But yeah, they vary a ton, not just like between different journals. They also vary between what research area you're publishing in, which is stupid, I think. Like, I get to an extent that you can charge more to people who probably have more money for research. It still sucks, though. That's a ton of money, but not unheard of, unfortunately. Yeah, that's honestly doesn't feel like a ton of money for open access based on the rates that I've seen other people charging, or other journals charging for open access. Like, that seems fairly standard. But, like, the thing is, I don't have funding, you know? Like, I don't have any grants or anything, so that, luckily, my university was very kind and was able to cover about half of it. Like, I had, like, professional development funds or whatever that I was able to use to cover half of that $1,700 publication fee. But the rest of it had to come out of pocket. Like, I had to pay that out of my own funds, the bank account that I use to pay rent and my bills and stuff. Some of my own personal money. I think about $900. I paid about $900 of my own personal money for that open access fee. Yeah, but it's open access. Yeah, we have fun. We have fun. Okay. Let's see. Protective behavioral strategy. Don't worry that it's open access now. Yay, open access. Right, it's open access now, so it's fine. And I didn't have to pay the full fee because of my professional development funds, which was I thought I'd have to pay the full thing, but luckily my coworker was like, you do know we have these professional development funds, right? And it turns out, like, only a limited amount of it can be used for, can be used for things like it's portioned out. Like, it's a decent amount of money, I'd say, but it's portioned out, so you can only use this much for these types of things and this much for other types of things. So I wasn't able to use all of my funds for that, unfortunately. If I had been able to, I would have had to pay much less of it. I still probably would. I might have actually been able to cover the whole cost if I was able to use all my professional development funds, but, you know, some of them are earmarked for things like travel and stuff, and therefore cannot be used for publication fees. Bureaucracy. Something. Come to think of it, a lab I work at recently published a big paper open access in, like, cancer theranostics land. I shudder to imagine what the open source fees was. I'm kind of curious now. Cancer theranostics publication fees. Oh, that's just like, okay, theranostics. Is this a journal? Publication fees are only payable. Research paper review. 5,000 Australian dollars. 5,000 Australian dollars to publish in theranostics. The journal Theranostics, you need to pay 5,000 Australian dollars to publish a paper there. I mean, it's good that open access is becoming more popular, but oh my gosh, the publication fees for open access are disgusting. I'm gonna collapse. Oh man. We're just in a tiny lab in the basement of the hospital crowded around an accelerator. Why? Because they think you have money because you have an accelerator. That's why. They're like, wow, you must have some pretty big grants to fund that accelerator, right? And then they charge you money. Oh man, I need to fix the rigging on this model so I can wiggle my eyebrows appropriately. Because that's a very important part of how I express myself. Alright, let's see. I think I need to... I would love to do something on deviance regulation theory in this class, but I think I'm gonna leave that off until I can read more. I want to find at least, like, I want to make sure I'm understanding it correctly before I try and teach anyone about it, and I think I'm gonna need to do some more reading on it. Because right now, the results I'm reading that are said to support it are confusing me, so I've got to, you know, I need to acknowledge my own ignorance and make sure that I adequately understand it before I tell people about it, even though it sounds hella cool. Which I think means that I'm done editing this lecture. I should use this time to read more up on this thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Maybe I should be done for now then. Unless I want to pivot to like reading a paper. Do we want to pivot to reading a paper? That would be very silly. Congrats and no entrapment this time. Yes, thank you. Well, you tried, Astral. I don't know if you were consciously trying, but I felt like I should start working on a PowerPoint soonish. I give you my strength, I give you my power. Deviance regulation theory. Let's see if I can find an introduction to deviance regulation. But I need to find one that's open access. That's the trick. A theory of action and identity. Let's see if I can find one in +1. No, I don't want +1's impact factor. I just want +1 and then deviance regulation theory. Hump-shaped density dependent. That is not it. Individual differences. Impact of COVID-19 on nurses. Does educational environment influence deviance? I just want... I had to give a big presentation last week. I put in a joke about German trains being late, and then I love that! I think it's the nice thing about presentations as opposed to papers is that you can get a little silly with it. That's my favorite thing about presentations. Would Def not be winning on the word per minute spreadsheet? Well, that doesn't count, because I didn't even know I intended to read a paper until right now, right? So that doesn't count. This one doesn't use deviance regulation theory. Maybe we can do another stream at another point and read about it. And a few people came up to me at the end to ask the actual science stuff. Ah, and say some things were quite good. That's nice. Oh, that's so nice. That's always a great feeling. That's always a great feeling. You know, I always say, like, questions during presentations aren't an attack, they're a compliment, because a lot of the time they are. And just, it feels really good to get people who are just genuinely curious about your research and, like, also getting compliments, which is great. Yeah. This is one about pooping in public. Oh, and they just cite it. They just cite demons. This is Germany, so questions are kind of an attack, not gonna. I mean, it does vary by discipline. Like, so in psychology, I try and at least get my students to view, I try and get my students to view questions as a compliment, because, you know, it's very easy to get anxious about this stuff. But it's very easy to get anxious, especially about questions during presenting, and I try and frame it that way, and luckily a lot of the environments that I've been in, do, like, most people ask questions as kind of a compliment, or, like, because they're curious, which I would consider a compliment. But it does depend on the discipline you're in. Business school culture, at least the business school culture that I've been exposed to, questions do tend to be more of an attack. I heard the same is true in economics, where, like, people are using questions not to address their own curiosity, but to show off how much smarter they are than you. This happens sometimes in psychology, but they usually phrase it more as this is more of a comment than a question in psychology, so at least you have some warning. Over the last hour, I've at least set up a bare bones GitHub for it, so yay, that! It should have been, oh, no, congratulations! And things just tend to take longer than you think they are. Oh yeah, we got some Germans in the chat! Oh man, I wish this was open access. Individuals desire to stand out in a positive way and not stand out in a negative way. Okay, so that makes sense. Hey, Cryo, welcome! In maths, it's either curiosity or checking how deep you are in the matter at hand. German as well. I see. Thank you for letting me know. It is interesting how much cultural variation there is in stuff, not just, like, across different countries, or even across, like, different universities or disciplines, but even, like, different departments. And, like, actually, like, within the psychology department at my university, there does seem to be a lot of variability in terms of, like, how combative versus curious questions tend to be during presentations. Is everybody German? Do I have a chat full of German people? That's cool. You sense the German in me. I've got a little German in my heritage, and you could sense it. The econ people here tend to have egos. I'm scared of a lot of econ people. I'm the only surviving non-German. Mylan's secretly German. I'm not German. Culturally, I'm an American. But I think genetically, I have a huge chunk of my genetics comes from Germany. So maybe you sensed that somehow. I think something like stupid, like I'm almost 50% historically German. I do not speak a word, but I'm guessing that says this chat is... Yeah, I can't read the I'm not even gonna try and guess what that says. Let's keep it in English, please. This chat is now the property of the German. Oh no! I'm working in Germany this summer, but I have to come clean. I live in the US and I'm actually Italian. Yeah, Xenotime. I was surprised when you said. So you're in Germany, but you're not. That tracks a bit more with what I recall. Not again. Oh no. Oh no. No. Research internship. That's so cool. Congratulations. Do I have it as a rule though that, like, chat needs to stay in English? If not, I should probably do that. Or I should correct the emoji, the North. Sad face. Aww. Z's Discord dubbed me honorary Italian for some reason. Z's Discord is chaos land. Oh my gosh. Okay, I think I understand this enough. Um, Marzipan! You know, after reading so much like Redwall when I was a kid, I thought marzipan was incredible. And and then I actually had some marzipan and I was like deeply disappointed. Maybe I've just been eating the wrong marzipan. Maybe I need to go to this place and eat the marzipan there. Maybe that was my problem. Yeah, maybe that's my that might be like a skill issue of the marzipan that I've been eating. I think I haven't like tried any like nice marzipan, just like I've only really had the marzipan that was like people being lazy or like, you know, they want to decorate a cake, but they don't want to like deal with making frosting or like Rice Krispie treats or whatever it is people do to like make it look nice. Yeah, you know. Lubeck is so obsessed with marzipan, we made giant sculptures out of it. Marzipan, oh my gosh. So if anywhere's gonna have good marzipan, it better be them. Uh, just doing the U to UE thing because I'm not typing on a German keyboard and I'm lazy. Fair enough. I remember as a child that an Empire State Building model made out of it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Low German is a thing. I see. I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes. These are all things that I do not know. I should bother my father about it. I believe my father at one point spoke German. Note if you ask him these days, he'll say he doesn't speak a word of German. He's forgotten it all. Apparently oh my gosh. I don't know any of these things. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. Oh, don't get us started on German dialects. It's chaos. That sounds fair. I've heard that Bill. Hey, Drummer Thrax, been a while. Good to see ya. Heard that Bill Nye gets a lot of weird off-topic questions as talks, and those Nye was rude to me stories might be coming from him being curt with. That would be. That's unsurprising. I would not be surprised. I think. I don't want to like say anything bad about Bill Nye because I think he's a great guy, but I think part of the problem is that he has framed like because of the kids show he had, he was Bill Nye the science guy. And he often talks like I believe Bill Nye's actual degree is in an area of engineering, which means a lot of the time when he's talking science, he's talking outside of his area of specialization. And I think he does genuinely do a lot of research on the things he talks about, but he does science communication in such a wide variety of things that people think that they can ask him anything about science as a whole. Like he's kind of I don't think he's intentionally doing this, but because of how interdisciplinary the things he talks about are, people have this perception he's feeding into that stereotype that you can just be a scientist and you will know science, you know? Hasn't like, oh wow, so much is happening about Germany in the chat. I don't know what's going on anymore. So history lesson, we were over 100 small countries like 200 years ago and our dialects accents. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Oh, I'm 5 minutes behind. Oh, no, you're fine. I don't know what's going on anymore. My brain is like 20 minutes behind. I think I'm done. I think science communication is a problem where even a beginner knows so much more than a normal person. Most people don't know who Erickson was. Erickson. When you say Erickson, the first person I think of is Leif Erikson. Who is Erickson in this context? Psychology. Oh, psychology. Right. Right, that guy. You know, he doesn't immediately come to mind because I'm not a developmental psychologist. It's been a while since I reviewed my history of psychology. I'm gonna need to do that at some point soon. But like you can see I have my PhD in psychology. I think the problem is like it's that, like the curve, right? Like if before you take psych classes, you have no idea who Erickson is. Then when you take some psych classes, you know who Erickson is. And then you start specializing, and you specialize so far into your little area that you forget who Erickson is. Does that make sense? I haven't heard or thought about Erickson in probably a decade. One rule on the internet, mention Germany once and the Germans will take that as an Is that true? Is that part of the original rules of the internet? Makes you wonder. Oh, man. Oh, boy. All right, I think I should probably end the stream. We've been going about 2 hours. I'm done editing this PowerPoint. It's in the official HTTP state. I'm talking about a different set of... Is math kind of the opposite, the same? They're saying, like, Euler already found it because if you think you found something new, you're... I don't know. In math, it's kind of the opposite and the same. That is very funny. That's very... Like, this one guy already... With social psychology, we kind of have that. We have Kurt Lewin. Kurt Lewin. Or Kurt Levin. Is it pronounced Levin? Kurt Levin. And it's like, in social psychology, you're like, I have this big innovation, and it turns out that Kurt Levin already did it back in, like, the 1920s and 1930s. He was already kind of getting at that same idea you had, but, like, way long ago. Unlike England, where we spawned from the French 1,000 years ago and never forgave them. Oh no! Oh no! I'm sorry, that's so funny. Kurt Lewin was German American. Was he German American? He was born in Poland, and he got his degree in Berlin, and then moved to America. I just went to Wikipedia, yeah. He was kind of all over the place, it sounds like. He was kind of all over the place. He's fun, though. I've enjoyed reading his stuff. Like, he invented this sort of, like, method of analysis that we don't really do anymore, but I think it's this one called force field analysis. And he would do these things called, like, beam diagrams. I don't want one of an actual beam. I want one of Lewin's diagrams. Yeah, field theory, that's what I'm thinking of. Field theory. Levin's field theory. And all of his diagrams of it looks like beans. Born just trying to discover something new and discover somebody else already in mood. What I like to do is I like to go into a really, like, specialized area that not a lot of people are doing stuff in, and that is my ideal way to conduct psychology. Fun times. Fun times. Now, when I started in conspiracy theories, it was a really small area of research that almost nobody was doing, and now, like, it's very popular, so I think that's my time to jump ship and move into something else. I gotta just keep, like, getting in on the ground floor and ditching when it starts getting big. You could also make a bro science podcast with pseudoscience learning by doing. Oh my gosh. Oh no. All right, I am getting a little lightheaded. So I think it might be time to stop. There's a lot like that in chem. People will just pick some random bizarre complex and you can dump water on it, and that's a paper because nobody's done that yet. I'm kind of like that. More for me, it's like, it makes it a lot easier to catch up on the literature if, you know, you're doing something not a lot of people have researched yet. I definitely appreciate that. Like, there was a point when I think I had read almost every single paper published on conspiracy theories before 2019, just because I got in on the ground floor. And so when I started reading, there were only like 25 papers on it, and it was very easy for me to keep up. And then, like, COVID hit, and there was an explosion of research, and I couldn't keep up anymore, and I just kind of gave up. But on top of Ken, they made N6 is about as explosive as you would expect. Oh no. That sounds, I don't know much about chem, so, but that sounds concerning. I tried to say worrying and concerning, and it came out currying. Oh no. But right, I really should end the stream. I'm getting lightheaded. I need to stop. They've made many explosives only sometimes on purpose. Oh no. But okay. It's time to end the stream. We've accomplished what our goal was. I need to rest. That was a fun stream. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you all so much for joining me on this journey. I'm gonna take the weekend off of working on updating my slides, but oh hey Appa, good to see ya. Good to see you. Good night everyone. Rest well. But yeah, I'm gonna take the weekend off and just do some fun stuff. But I might be back to streaming co-working next week. We'll see. Bye everyone. Take good care. I will see you next time, whenever that is. 100. I'm not gonna say the word. There is no Discord. I'm sorry. There's no Discord. I've been talking about maybe I'll make a Discord when I hit 500 subs. We'll see, but currently there's no Discord. Oh, have fun, Xenotai. Yeah, but maybe one day there'll be a Discord. Maybe one day. We're slowly growing. Maybe we'll get there. F word. Exactly. You know, I was actually thinking of that last night, of like adding a rule or something where I just say, we do not say the F word, and everybody of course assumes that the F word is fuck. But that is not the F word in this chat. The F word is not fuck. The F word is the things at the end of your legs. I was genuinely thinking about making that as like kind of a joke rule. It's tempting. Okay. I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here before I pass out, because I'm genuinely feeling kind of icky. I think it's because I'm out of the path of the air conditioning and I'm kind of overheating. So I'm gonna go lay in front of the. Oh, yeah. All right. Take care, everyone. have a great day. Have a great night. Take care. I hope that whatever you're gonna do next goes well. I'll see you next time. Bye.